On February 28, 2026, the Middle East fractured. The United States and Israel launched a massive, coordinated wave of strikes against Iranian military complexes, sending shockwaves far beyond the physical impact zones. Within the first 12 hours alone, Allied forces executed nearly 900 individual strikes across the country. It was the most concentrated aerial bombardment in the region since the 2003 invasion of Iraq. The sheer scale of the operation quickly achieved its primary objective. During the bombardment, Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, was killed in what the White House described as a decapitation strike. In the city of Minab, an airstrike hit a girls' elementary school. Reports from the Red Crescent confirmed that 201 students were killed and 747 others were wounded in the blast. The economic consequences were instantaneous. Global oil prices maintained a flat baseline until February 2026, when Iran's threat to close the Strait of Hormuz caused an 11% spike. Disrupting 20% of the world's oil supply pushed European markets toward prolonged stagflation. The 2026 war acts as the collision point for three distinct historical layers: a forced religious conversion in 1501, a CIA-led coup in the 50s, and a theocratic reaction in 1979. To understand why the 2026 strikes targeted this specific regime, we have to look at how these clerics acquired power in the first place. For that, we rewind to 1979. Ayatollah Khamenei emerged as the leader of the Islamic Revolution. He recognized deep, widespread societal anger and channeled it to install a restrictive religious state. The average Iranian in 1979 wasn't necessarily protesting for clerical rule. They marched in the millions because Khomeini was the most visible figure who stood in total opposition to foreign control of their country. That domestic anger eventually led to direct anti-Western retaliation. This hostility peaked when Iranian protesters breached the gates of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. This friction was the result of a generation that grew up under 25 years of stolen democracy and U.S.-backed repression. We drop back further to 1951. Iran elected Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh. He was a highly educated leader who wanted to reform his nation's economy. Mossadegh inherited a massive problem. Iran held incredible oil wealth, but it was being extracted, refined, and sold entirely by British Petroleum. The arrangement kept Iran impoverished while funneling the profits to the UK. Mossadegh officially nationalized the oil industry, reclaiming control of Iran's sovereign resources for its own people. The Western response was aggressive. The United States deployed its newly created Central Intelligence Agency to execute Operation Ajax, a plot to overthrow Mossadegh. The CIA utilized specific destabilizing tactics. They paid local thugs to commit street crimes, controlled the scripts read by broadcasters, and hired thousands of people to stage fake protests, creating the perception of a failing state. The operation succeeded. Democracy in Iran was abolished. In its place, the U.S. installed the Shah, a monarch who ruled with an iron fist and immediately returned control of the oil to Western corporations. The Shah remained disconnected from his people. While his citizens starved, he spent over $300 million on a week-long party in 1971 to celebrate the Persian monarchy, with imported food and foreign dignitaries. By dismantling a secular democracy to secure oil access, foreign powers replaced a populist leader with an autocrat, leaving the mosque as one of the few remaining venues for organized political dissent. So why is Iran currently so geopolitically isolated from the rest of the Muslim world? To answer that, we have to look at the deepest historical layer and rewind to the year 1501. For 1,000 years prior, Persia was a bastion of Sunni Islam. Persian scholars codified Arabic grammar and compiled the majority of the major hadiths used across the region. That changed with one person, Ismail, the 14-year-old leader of a messianic Safavid cult. After conquering the region with fanatical warriors, he issued a decree making Twelver Shi'ism the mandatory state religion under threat of execution. These two side-by-side pie charts illustrate the demographic shift. In the year 1500, Shi'ism accounted for less than 5% of Iran. Over the next 150 years of forced conversion, that number reached 95%. This state-mandated shift created a permanent sectarian boundary, isolating Iran from the Sunni-led systems that define its neighbors. Which brings us back to the smoking rubble of February 2026, where the immediate physical devastation reflects centuries of historical fractures finally breaking wide open. The Safavids forced their religion. The CIA forced an oil dictator. The Ayatollahs forced their theocracy. History shows that when external powers or internal cults force a new identity onto a population, the resulting tension builds until the state structure can no longer hold the pressure. As leaders and intelligence agencies navigate their long-term strategic goals, the immediate cost is calculated in thousands of documented civilian deaths in Minab and Tehran.